everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello. If you're returning, hello. Nice to see you all. So in today's video, I'm just going to come with 5 quick tips for anyone who may be searching for the ASYE, if that is something that you are doing. So yeah, let's get straight into this video. Okay, so tip number 1, build relationships. Network. Your placement shouldn't all be about work. It should be about you networking, building relationships with professionals in social care, building relationships with those managers, those colleagues, whoever it is. And I'll tell you why. As you know, the turnover in social work is so high. So someone you might see on your placement today, you may see them in another borough or somewhere here at another point in another position who can be beneficial to you and your development as a social worker. So network, build relationships. Like, if you're the type of person you're a bit reserved, come out of your shell. Talk to people, find out what people's interests are. It's a good conversation to have with social workers is, what's your future ambition? What do you want to do next? What are you interested in? Because as I said, from my experience 2 years later, some social workers that I'm seeing there one day, I'm seeing them at another place the next day. And do you know what I mean? When you have those relationships, people can be informing you of what other boroughs are like, what it's like to work in another team. They can help you get roles. As you know, there's always that, I don't remember what the name is, but when someone refers you, you get a bit of money for it and all of that. People may not always have the best intentions of letting you know about things, but either way, it will work for your benefit. Tip number 2, start your search early. So even if you're on your first year of the undergrad or the master's course, start early, start your search early, start to see what roles are out there, start to find out a bit more about other roles that you may not have the knowledge or experience in, but start your search early. A lot of places will accept applicants much earlier than what's expected at the end of your course, and maybe could reserve most likely would reserve a space for you if you're good enough. And you are good enough, because you know, if they will accept you, they should be willing to hang on until they can have you, right? So start your search early. Don't wait for your friends and they're like, no, I can do that later. Start early, because when it comes to the end of your course, you're going to be competing with everyone else and there's only a certain amount of spaces. Tip number 3. So when you're doing your search online, keywords are so important. Not all roles are going to be advertised as ASYE or newly qualified. Sometimes you may find things within the sector of humanitarian roles, or I think I've seen one recently like public service, or I know they are quite advertising quite a lot of underqualified roles within social work recently, like a personal advisor role, or something I've been seeing around a lot is like a social work assistant. Like, how are people going to do a whole degree and then you're going to tell them to go into an underqualified role? Like, they need to stop that, okay? But my point is, don't just limit yourself to one keyword, one bracket of this. Do a generic search. Look at places like UNICEF and see if there's like roles that relate to social care. Type in social care roles. A lot of the time, some roles may be advertised as a qualified social worker role, but they would still be willing to take on a newly qualified social worker, if I'm making any sense. So don't limit yourself when you are looking for a search. And yeah, that's pretty much tip number 3. Tip number 4 is take your time. You know, like for me personally, when I finished, it was within COVID time anyway, so I couldn't, like, getting a job was quite hard during that time. But I did take some time out, I think about 9 months, where I worked in like a CAM service, working with young adolescents. And I took time out away because I didn't feel ready at that moment to get into a qualified or newly qualified social worker role. I was exhausted from uni and I needed money. So I had to go and work, you know. Closed mouths don't get fed. People who lay in their bed don't get fed, you know. You have to work. So I got a job just to have a little bit of a break from uni, refresh myself, travel a bit and figure out what I wanted to do. So take your time. If you're not ready at the end of your course, take time out, but do make sure you have a plan in place, because you only have 2 years if you do want to do it. of what you're going to do and how you're going to get yourself back. So do try and have a plan. But yeah, take your time. Don't rush. I mean, we live the fast life, right? But take your time. Don't allow, your university or people around you to pressure you to get into something prematurely if you're just not ready. If you're not ready, take your time, go on a holiday, maybe work somewhere else or figure yourself out. If you've got savings to rely on, just chill for a bit and really sit down and figure out what you want to do. Yeah, so a lot of the time people get into things and think they want to do stuff, and then they end up not giving that thing their best. So if you need to take time out, just take a pause and reassess. And my final tip number 5, following 6, is when you're doing your search online, make sure that you put on alarms or reminders, whatever they're called. So for example, when you go and log into a website or when you go on Indeed, you can set something that if anything comes up within what you're searching for, they can send you emails. So a lot of the time when I was applying, me and my friend would always send each other like, oh, this job has come up in your area, or this job has come up in your area. Get an accountability partner as well. Get a friend that can help you with your search, especially while you're doing your dissertation, or if you're in a busy period. Get someone who maybe can have those reminders for you and can let you know what is up and coming. That was really helpful when I was looking for my ASYE. So tip number 7, which is my final tip, is to update your CV. I mean, it sounds pretty simple, right? But then you're probably thinking, what do you mean update my CV? Like, girl, I already got a CV. So essentially what I did, or what I was advised to do by someone who assessed me in my first interview with Southwark that went completely pear-shaped and horrible, she advised me to update my CV and make it tailored to my social work experience. So what that looks like is I duplicated my original CV, and then at the end of that CV, I just wrote social work experience, my 70-day placement, my 100-day placement, what skills and what knowledge I gained or developed, how I developed in each placement. And I just included a bit about that at the end of my CV. Not too much, just quite a lengthy paragraph, just so that they could see straight off the bat, looking at my CV, what I've done, what teams I worked in, what experience I have, what I need to learn, and so forth. So update your CV. It does help. Takes only a few minutes, and it will help you stand out a bit amongst the rest as well. And especially if you're applying for jobs maybe outside of the standard application process online, you might be going through someone on LinkedIn or an agency. They will ask for a CV, and that pretty much just sells you on the forefront of them getting to know who you are as a developing practitioner. But I hope my 7 quick tips helped you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.